Hi all, welcome to Greenball. Today we are going to understand a few facts about our beloved mathematician John Venn. John Venn is the mathematician who played a major role behind the Venn diagram. Okay, we have learned what a Venn diagram is and we have solved many problems related to it. So let's understand a few things about the person behind it, that is John Venn. So welcome to Math Magic series of Greenball. John Venn is a English mathematician. Okay, he was born at Hull in England on August 4, 1834, and he passed away on April 4, 1923 at the age of 89. Okay, his father, mother, wife and son, their names are given here. Okay, so telling about his early life, his mother died when Venn was about 3 years old. Okay, later he was raised up by his father. His father was an Anglican priest. Okay, also his grandfather was also an Anglican priest. There is a community in priests who can lead family life too. Okay, so John Venn's family belonged to that category, and there were priest as well as one who leads family life too. Okay, both father and grandfather of John Venn were priests, and they both worked for the social reforms. Okay, they both were very service oriented people. Okay, so following their path, our Venn also became a priest in his later life. Also he had performed many activities for social reforms. Okay, he also handed it to his son, and his son also followed the same path. Okay, Venn and his son worked mainly for women empowerment and voting rights, and his father and grandfather worked for social reform activities. Okay, these are some diagrams in the books written by Venn. How we can by looking at this picture we can understand how John Venn represented Venn diagrams. Okay, we usually uses three circles, isn't it? We have only used only three sets, but we can use many number of sets. Okay, and they can be represented in many shapes like ellipse, oval and so on. Not a circle is needed. Okay, so this is how he represented Venn diagrams. Okay, in his textbooks. Telling about his occupation, he was a philosopher, one who worked for social reforms. Okay, he always told people to act good services to the society. Also he was a philanthropist who did many activities by his own for social reforms as well as for the goods of people. Okay, he was a curator in two parishes, and later he retired when he found that his ideals are not getting on parallel with the church rituals. He retired from priesthood, but later also he followed the same service mind. Okay, he was also an English mathematician. His main contributions were in the field of probability and Venn theory. Okay, he studied in Cambridge University, and after his studies he also became a professor at that college. Okay, he also served as after became professor. After his retirement, he was served as college president in the same university till death. Okay, these are some of the Venn diagrams which are depicted in his. Sorry for the interference. So these are some of the diagrams which are showed in his books. Okay, or which are related to Venn diagram. Normally we uses two sets, and if needed we use only three sets, isn't it? But we can use or we can represent a number of sets using Venn diagram. Okay, that are shown in these pictures. Okay, then moving to his hobbies, we can see that John Venn has a number of hobbies. Okay, he was interested in hiking and mountain climbing. Okay, and also he was an amateur expert in botany. Okay, what is amateur expert? An amateur expert is a person who keenly observes the nature. Okay, but not for money. Okay, but not for a profession need. Okay, he will do it by his own interest. Okay, that's what an amateur expert mean. And he was an amateur expert in botany. Okay, also he was very interested in gardening also. For white carrots and roses, his garden was very famous in that locality. Okay, also he was interested in reading. Okay, he read mainly English and French novels. He was reading mainly English novels, but to study a new language he started reading French novels. Okay, so he was his hobbies were reading English and French novels. Okay, he was also a philanthropist. That means a one who worked for the good of others. Okay, then what is the next one? It is machine making. He was also interested in machine making. He made a bowling machine which is represented in this left hand side. Okay, it was a bowling machine made by John Venn. Okay, then some of the famous players from Germany came to see it and they played with it, but it all became clean ball. Okay, that means the machine was super perfect. And after 100 years, he died in 1923. So after 100 years means in 2023, the students of Cambridge University, where he had taught and studied in his early life, isn't it, they made the same bowling machine. Okay, they recreated the bowling machine and the same which John Venn made as a honor to him. Okay, he had written a book which explained in detail about how he made this bowling machine, and reading that book and by using their effort, they recreated that machine in 2023, which was his 100th death anniversary. He was a philanthropist, and he formed two communities. One was Hereford Society for Aiding the Industrious, and also leader of Camp Farm sect, which worked for the abolition of slavery. Okay, he also donated many bathhouses, soup kitchens, etc. by this society, by this community. You can see here. Okay, also this is an industry made by him for the welfare of people. Also he helped many poor, and he worked for women suffrage. That means he worked to give equality for women. For suffrage means all the citizens have equal right to vote. Okay, so he worked for women suffrage, and this was a period where a discrimination based on gender existed. Okay, so he worked for equality of women. Also he provided education for women. Okay, after his lectures in college, he started conducting separate lectures for women. Okay, also he conducted special exams for women for making them qualified for further education. Okay, he did this all by his own. Okay, by his own interest, not by somebody's compulsion. Okay, then this telling about Venn diagram. These are the two mathematicians who helped John Venn to construct Venn diagram. The first one is George Boole, who is the person behind Boolean algebra. Okay, in maths, otherwise in computer science we use binary language, isn't it? 1 0 1 0 0 1 and so on. That is one of the aspect of Boolean algebra. And also in maths as well as physics also, and in computer science we use true and false. Okay, true and false statements. That is also a basement of George Boole. Okay, Boolean algebra. And the next person, this is Leonard Euler, a very famous notable mathematician. Okay, in a honor for Leonard Euler, during that time the notes of that country has the image of Leonard Euler. Okay, actually John Venn constructed Venn diagram to make concepts easy for his students. Okay, he was a lecturer at Cambridge University, so to make his concept easy for students, his own students, he constructed this Venn diagram. Okay, that was the purpose behind using this Venn diagram. Later he noticed that since this diagrammatic representation was more easy, The teachers of other departments of his college also started using Venn diagram to make their concepts easy for students. Okay, later when he tell about this to some people, they started to use it in their industry also. Okay, so the usage of Venn diagram spread up to industrious level. Okay, so he understood that this is a good thing when I published it. Okay, so that so many people will get easier with it. So he started publishing his interest in Venn diagram and also all the theories and constructions behind it. Okay, with the help of Leonard Euler and George Boole, thus the Venn diagram concept became public. Okay, thus it became famous and people started using it worldwide. Okay, the main purpose was to make easy, okay, to easy to understand the diagrammatic representation, so that the people, otherwise the students, will be easier to understand their concepts. That was the thread where the concept of Venn diagram emerged. Okay, telling about his death, he died on April 4, 1923. Okay, there was no a specific death reason. Okay, his mental clarity, his mental health was very perfect. Okay, he was not suffering with many old age diseases or something. Okay, almost he was mentally and physically well, fit. Okay, there was a not a specific reason for his death, only what to say is he passed away. Okay, and he was buried in the cemetery Peter's Church Cemetery at Hereford. There he had worked as priest. Okay, he had worked as a priest for 2 years and later he resigned from priesthood. Okay, later followed the service minded path. Okay, so he had worked in the St. Peter's Church and he was buried in that church too. Okay, on April 2023, as a part of his 100th death anniversary, the Google doodle was this. Okay, it was depicted in this picture. Google honored him by representing a Google doodle. We can see a Venn diagram here. Between two O's we can see a Venn diagram. Also we can see John Venn also here. Okay, and this was the Hull University. Okay, this was one of the university where he have worked, and it is a glass window. In this glass window they honored our John Venn. Okay, he was a fellow at Cambridge University and was president at the same university. And on that glass window, what they did, they represented his Venn diagram. Okay, and this picture is a family of Venn diagram. This is John Venn. Okay, and this is Susanna, I believe. Okay, there was no complete details was available about them. Okay, and I think I was not remembering at this time, probably this was his son. Okay, but major details about John, his family is not available to people. Okay, so this was his family. And these are the books, some of his books written by John Venn. Okay, you can see the name John Venn written here. Okay, and here comes the books written on John Venn. Okay, these three books are not written by John Venn but was written about John Venn as well as his major contribution, Venn diagram. This, a life in logic, also the story of Venn diagrams, and unpublished writings and selected correspondence of John Venn. Okay, these are written by whom? These both books are written by Lucas, and this book was written by A.W.F. Edwards. Okay, so these are some of the books. Okay, these are not all the books, these are a very few books written about John Venn. Okay, and this is a street and at England. Okay, and this street was named as Venn Street. Okay, in honor to him, since he had done many good services for society, he was honored by naming, so they named this street as Venn Street. Okay, you can see the name written here. When you search in Google about Venn Street, you will get a many pictures depicting the Venn Street. Okay, and this is a good writing. It's better you read this. Okay, and comes the Venn building. Okay, look at this Venn building. It is in University of Hull. In honor to him, these are the depiction, and this is how they depicted John Venn. How they used a Venn diagram. So who is a John Venn? John Venn is a mathematician, philosopher, as well as an Anglican priest, as well as who had a really strong bird game. Okay, bird game is a word that is used to represent the growth of their facial hair. One who had a thick beard as mustache and hair. Okay, since he had a good strong thick mustache, thick hair on his face, that means facial hairs are rich in the face of when John Wayne, isn't it? So it is a strong bird game, otherwise it will become weak bird game. Okay, and he had got many awards that are represented here. He was tripos is an entrance test, not an entrance test, it is a final test specially conducted at Cambridge University to make them capable for further studies. Okay, he had conducted moral sciences on tripos, as well as while he was a student, he also won 6th rank in tripos exam. Okay, also he got a doctor of science. Okay, PhD. Today we will tell it PhD, but on that time it was SCD, doctor of science, from since it is from Cambridge University. Okay, also I told earlier that he was interested in farming. Okay, his white carrots and roses were very famous, and during those time in every locality they will give prizes for people who are good at farming, and he had won that prize, horticultural prize. Okay, and he got a fellowship of Royal Society also. His son gives this description on his death. On John Wayne's death, when we asked about his son, about John Wayne, he said on spire build, he was a thoughtful, he was a good walker and mountain climber, also a good botanist and excellent talker and linguist. That was what his son said about his father. Okay, so this is our John Wayne. We have to remember, or otherwise we have to know at least some things like this, since we are studying about them, and since they are contributed many to us. Unknowingly we are also using these benefits. Okay, since we are using artificial intelligence, Google and many things, there is a background of John Wayne there, otherwise there is a hand of John Wayne there. Okay, so it's our duty to understand it. Okay, these all were a good new knowledge for me too. Okay, so thank you for watching Green Ball. See you again.